What is up, everyone? It's your girl, Spirit Gamer Girl, back with another collaboration video with Storywind here.
Hello, it's good to be back.
And today's topic, we're doing another GamerTalk video, and the last one was a bit more serious, and so I thought I would lighten it up a little bit on a less serious note. And so this video we are going to be talking about, well, I will let Storywind take that away.
Well, we're going to talk about Sword Art Online. There's, of course, 2 seasons, Season 1, Season 2, but I'd have to interject that there are some serious considerations for Season 1 that we'll get into. But if you have not heard of Sword Art Online, then it's time to get out from underneath your rock, or it's actually freely available on Netflix. That's Netflix, by the way. If you want to give us a free promo, we're very happy for that. But aside from that, we're going to talk about Sword Art Online.
And so before we get any further into this conversation, if you want to see more videos like this, as well as other types of content from my channel or from Storywinds, then make sure to subscribe to me down below by clicking the red button, and then subscribe to Storywind by using the link in the description box below. But without further ado, let's get on with the actual video and talking about Sword Art Online.
What's wrong, and also what makes it so right, is I've just been recently re-binging on the series, mostly for Season 1, because that is my favorite season. And for any of you who do not know, gaming world, where everyone gets in on the first day of the launch, and it's a full immersion. Like, they wear these helmets on their head in their rooms and lay down, and then they actually go fully into the game. When they discover that they are locked in the game by the developer, who essentially says there's this huge mountain with, I don't know, over 100 levels, and they have to get to the very top. And once they get to the very top, everyone will be free to go back home. But if you die in the game, there is no respawn, there's no logging out, you die. There's like something in the helmets that kind of blows up the brain. And so within that, it begins with Kirito and Asuna, but it starts with Kirito, who is, as we find out, is a beta player. We'll try not to do too many spoiler alerts, but if you like this and you really get into it, you should definitely check it out. I like that premise, that it's that they're stuck in this fantasy world and they have to figure their way to get out of it.
So at the same time, when I first started this anime, I actually got into it, I believe, because my dad and brother were watching it, or at least one of them was watching it. And so I'm the type of person who will say I'm not interested, but then I'll come and watch a few episodes, and I'll go off on my own and watch the rest of it and finish the season within less than a week. Actually, no, more within less than a couple days, because I get that into it, unless of course I'm busy.
So let's get into it. The first season, what makes it so great is just this world that they have to, they gradually level up, and the episodes are episodic, so some of them string together, some are kind of like
filler episodes,
or a slice of life, which they do come together for character development. The thing is, though, is after it's only one season, because Season 2 is a completely different game world. So I feel like Season 1, or the story, shouldn't have ended with Season 1. This could have been 3 or 5 seasons.
Because in Season 1, it mainly focuses in the game that is Sword Art Online. And so it focuses in SAO for the first season, and then after the first season ends, Season 2 comes along, and it starts in the real world, and then it switches to a completely different game, which I can understand that they might want to explore the main character or characters in a different world, so they're not just stuck in one gaming world. But at the same time, I think they left it off at older episodes and added more to the story. Or I just think there were certain episodes or certain parts in certain episodes where I think they could have added more, because there was a lot to talk about. It's really hard to talk about this without giving away stuff for anyone who's watching or hasn't watched the series, who's interested in watching it.
Yeah, so, the first couple episodes, it's
Kirito
at, the early levels, and going to a couple of different adventures, he's a loner. He likes to explore and adventure alone and level up that way. because he trusts his instincts over anyone else's. He and Asuna meet early on, briefly, which is kind of, I think, laying the seeds for later on in the season. They went in two different directions. But I do like how, the episodes where they jump around in the world. I mean, the common thread is Kirito, but the different situations, it's kind of like a series of short stories.
The one thing that I do like about Kirito is I know that a lot of times when there's like a male lead, and I know a lot of people tend to think like, oh, like he's gonna fall in love or come through in the end and like he's gonna be able to beat all the monsters, and just make all these assumptions and stuff like that, compared to like if it's a female lead, there's probably different like expectations or whatnot. And like in terms of like how the main character or characters treat other people that they come into contact with. And so what I like about Kirito is it's more specifically, I guess, when he interacts with other female characters. And so what I mean by that is even though he's a loner, you notice very early on within like the first interaction with someone that like he doesn't know who's in danger, that he instantly becomes very protective over that person, and not in such a way that's like, oh, I like this person like more than a friend or whatever. It's more so just kind of like, I guess in a way, like as if it was like his own family that he was protecting, which I like. And it's not just with like the female characters, even though there's a lot of them.
Like, for example, in episode 3, he joins a guild. This is like the only guild that he joins early on, which impacts him during the story. But he joins a guild where he's much higher level. They don't know because he's concealed it. But he wants to be part of it, and he wants to help them. He wants to help them grow, because everyone who levels up becomes stronger, and they can protect themselves, and they can help the entire community try to clean out the dungeons. Now, this team group he's with, there is a major tragedy that happens during the story that haunts Kirito through the end of that episode, and it actually haunts him throughout the rest of the season. Plays an important role later on for his growth. And that's one of the things I like about Kirito and Asuna, is that they're not static characters. They're not characters who stay the same all the way through. They don't grow, they don't change, but rather they do. They evolve. Like the characters you see in the first episode, their personalities, their maturity changes by the time you get to mid, and especially the second half, because I gotta say, the second half, once you get to it, it's worth savoring till you get there. It's really worth experiencing, because it's a complete shift in the storyline.
Yeah, and I know especially when it comes to the relationships that he forms by the time the second half occurs, I guess more specifically his relationship with Asuna, as they're complete strangers who've never met up until they meet inside this game, and how they end up coming together, even though they have no idea who each other are, and like what their intentions are and stuff like that they're able to come together and realize that they need each other more than they might have first expected, especially Kirito, again, being a loner as he is. And Asuna she doesn't necessarily, or at least from my point of view, she doesn't so much give off that kind of loner type of vibe as much as Kirito does, but you can kind of see that in her, that even though she becomes like a top-ranking officer of this guild that she joins, and she has all this power, that you can see that it's not until her and Kirito meet that she truly starts to realize as the bigger picture of playing SAO and being in this world. And so I'll just leave it at that, because otherwise if I say any more it'll spoil it. How the development of their relationship, that's not like that they meet and then bam, they're instantly in love, or they're instantly whatever, like friends, that they still have.
Can't stand each other at the beginning.
Yeah, and so I like it, just the development overall of their relationship, from where it starts when they first meet up until the end of the season.
So is there what's an episode that really stuck out to you? Is either that something that you really enjoyed, or just was memorable.
When I think of the first season, the only thing I can think of is like the episode I absolutely hated. But in terms of what happened, so I guess I'll start off with the worst first, because I can't think of what I liked the most. The one that I liked the least was more in terms of what happened in the episode, but it was also the people who made this show did a good job, and so that's why I hate it. It's because of what happens, but how they...
Okay, the suspense is killing me. What is the episode?
I believe it's like either the final episode or like second to last episode, and it's basically, it's after the SAO is beaten.
That's not the end of season 1.
Yeah, and so it's after SAO is defeated and everyone, or all the players, are thought to have returned to the real world, and all their bodies have been moved to hospitals at this point because of the duration that they had been stuck in the game for so long, which I'm not going to say because, again, spoilers. Kirito ends up having to save the day twice, I guess you could say, but this time, instead of trying to save an entire like population of people, he's just trying to save one person.
In the storyline, there's some guy in the real world who's a little bit creepy.
More than a little bit creepy.
He likes Asuna, and supposedly they'd had a promised relationship together,
an arranged marriage.
Yeah, and he was holding on to that, and clearly, as you'll find on the show, Asuna doesn't feel the same way.
And so, of course, with like, as I said, with like the development of Kirito and Asuna's relationship, Kirito is like beyond excited to see Asuna in the real world until he finds out about this guy and what his like true intentions are and stuff like that. And so Kirito goes on, to put it as short as possible without giving away spoilers, Kirito is basically on a mission once again to save the world, but in terms of saving the world, it's one person.
I guess if you say your unfavorite, I'm not going to say my non-favorite, because I don't know if I really have a non-favorite, or rather one I didn't like. Although I like how you put it, you might not have liked it, but you liked how they crafted it. I like the episode, mid-season, when he goes to the blacksmith and asks her to create a special sword for him. They have to go get a special ingredient only held by a dragon. The blacksmith insists that she's got to go along. She's not one of those experienced veterans. Something happens, and their lives are in danger. The blacksmith has fallen in love with Kirito, maybe because he saved her life. Asuna shows up. Now, at this point, Kirito and Asuna are not together. We as the viewers can see the possibility, but it's not quite necessarily going to happen. So it was really a powerful finish to a story, and I really enjoyed that because it's only within a couple episodes, I think you start to see the storyline go to the relationship between Asuna and Kirito.
There's a lot more in the season 2 and also in season 1 that we haven't discussed yet, and so if you would like to hear more about our thoughts, opinions, views, and whatnot on Sword Art Online Season 1, Season 2, or a different show or topic or whatever that you would like to hear us discuss on GamerTalk or just in a different video, then subscribe to my channel as well as Storywin's channel, which will be linked down below. And mine, you can just click the red button underneath this video. And you can also let me know any of your suggestions by leaving them down in the comments below. And with that being said, this was Spirit Gamer Girl and
Storywin.
And see you next time for the next video. This has been the internet's favorite dork and her dad. Bye!